There you
Hello,
go.
everybody, and welcome to the fifth episode of the Gaming Pubcast. I am Martin, your host. I missed the last one, so apologies for that one. I had a good reason, though. Duncan, I did see your video that you put up, and I did see your Minecraft. Oh, not your Minecraft, it was your
Well,
son.
yes,
So
yeah.
not for you to take.
We had episode 4 was just me talking to myself for 4 minutes, but I think I told everybody that you'd had a new addition to your family, so it was a very good reason
I
to
did,
not be
yeah.
on episode 4.
Yeah,
But
I think
back for episode 5, a little bit late, but it is here as we promised.
Again, my fault, but I've been a bit hectic. But if all goes well, you're going to get today, and then you're going to get another one either Sunday or Monday. So you're going to get two
in a week. Nice.
2 in quick succession, I should say.
Yes,
so,
yeah, I had the video.
How have you been?
Well, me and my son finished the zoo. So, I say finished. You can always add decorations and stuff, but he's 5 years old. He doesn't really care about all that kind of thing. It's finished, and we've gone on to other things right now. So I'm sure there'll be many other little things that I think I built this morning. I built a wool farm with it, and he couldn't understand why I was calling myself the slave master, because it basically forces sheep in a circle. And it's quite a torturous thing that you're just making sheep walk around in a big sort of vertical circle and shearing them constantly. So, but yeah, that's what I've been doing this morning.
Very productive morning you've had there, Duncan. I've come back from a photo shoot, so no gaming related for me. But I say a photo shoot makes me sound like a model. It was for my children, but I was asked
a family photo shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so not an individual photo shoot. Not yet, anyway. You never know. There might be a different change for career going in the future at one point, but at this moment in time, it's not in the pipe. But anyway, Duncan, what have you been up to in terms of gaming-wise?
I think I shared a picture on Facebook. I think it was. I took the dive into Baldur's Gate 3 because I was waiting until it came out version 1.0, because it's been out for a while in early access, but version 1.0 was going to have controller support and with how well it worked on Steam Deck, because my computer doesn't really play very well. It's basically 11 years old, my personal computer. So I waited, and I found out that it worked okay. You do have to reduce the graphical capabilities of it quite a lot, and occasionally I do get frame rate dips to maybe 20-ish, but for the majority of the time I can get a stable 40 frames per second with medium to low settings. And I'm enjoying it. I've only played for about 4 hours so far, and I'm liking it, because all previous games where D&D rules, you don't actually see the dice, but in Baldur's Gate 3 they literally have a pair of dice on the screen. You press a button and it shakes them and tells you the result, whereas that's always been hidden in previous games about whether you fail, or it just goes failed or succeeded, and you don't know what you've shaken, because it's basically D&D. It's a dice, shake dice and game of chance. So I'm enjoying it, and I've got, I think, about 3 companions already. So I barely scratched the game. I'm sure over the next few weeks I will come out with more details, but it works really well with controller, really well. They've done a really good good job of translating what should be just a mouse and keyboard game into working quite well on the controller.
I did see your character, and he does look a lot like yourself. So that was
did I put my character
pretty
up?
impressive. I think you put a picture of your character.
No, that was that's just the splash screen. No, there was a splash screen on the Steam Deck. My character, he has purplish pink hair, and And
Yeah.
it looks a bit weird, but equally doesn't. But it's a game that you could probably put 200 or 300 hours in, and probably still find new things. So the fact that I've only played about 4 hours now means I can't really review it fully.
Properly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I've experienced so far, I'm enjoying it. If you have you played Divinity? Any of the Divinity games, like Divinity Original Sin? They do. It does basically go on from that kind of game. It is a lot like your Baldur's Gate, Divinity Original Sin, and yeah, it's really good. It's getting fantastic reviews, like in the 90s.
Yeah. So because it came out
just for the PC at the moment, but it comes out
again. It's not coming out on consoles until PlayStation 5 until the 6th of September, and then
the same day as Starfield.
Yeah, they've at least PlayStation.
So at least, PlayStation 5 players will be happy about that. But it's only not coming to Xbox because they can't get the co-op to work on the Series S. I think they said in a way that they're happy with, because it would mean them just reducing the graphical capabilities. I presume.
Yeah.
So
review, 97 out of 100 on Metacritic and 100% on OpenCritic. So
there you go.
Pretty good. So, and what sort of character is your character?
I
haven't played the Baldur's Gate.
A high elf. I've got a high elf rogue. No, ranger. High elf ranger. So pointy ears, fires a bow. There you go. That's and I think I can talk to animals and
that's nice
and whatnot.
Like Dr. Dooley.
And I have high persuasion. I know from a lot of these games, persuading people to do things is a good thing. So I made sure I had a couple of extra on persuasion. I have been looking up mods as well, see if there's any good ones. Haven't installed any yet, but yeah, I shall update in future weeks on whether there's any good ones, graphical or things that add new missions or new abilities. So yeah, that's what I've been. I've only been playing that. Obviously, it's only been out a couple of days, so that's all I've been playing there. I think I did say the last episode that I've been playing Days Gone. I have now completed the story. Yay! I don't know if did you play Days Gone?
I haven't, no, but I know about it because it's quite a well-known game. It's the zombie one, isn't it? Which initially was a PlayStation exclusive, and now
on PC. I mean, I play exclusively on Steam Deck, and it runs really well. It's when you're fighting the hordes, which there could be, I don't know, I'm estimating about 150 zombies in the big ones running at you, and it didn't slow down at all. Maybe a tiny bit, but I was still getting probably at least 30 frames a second. And I find it's a long game, long story, because a lot of the time you're hunting for fuel, you're hunting for ammo. You have to pick up weapons from lots of people that you fight and whatnot. But yeah, still really good story. I very much enjoyed it. And highly recommend anybody who hasn't played it to play it, whether you're on PlayStation or PC. Yeah, fantastic game.
Check if it's on PlayStation Plus or not.
I think it's not. Is it a first party? It's not a first party game, are they? They're not a first Sony studio. I don't know, but
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
There is a post finishing scene that actually leads on to whether there's going to be a sequel as well, like a secret mission after you finished. I won't give too much away, but it means that could be a lot more action based, the sequel. So I shall keep tight-lipped on that.
So days gone. You've also been playing Baldur's Gate, so see, been pretty busy, Duncan, then in terms of game
Well,
wise.
I've had to do the gaming for both of us, I think. Having a new addition to the family. Well, I mean, before Baldur's Gate as well, I've been playing Dave the Diver. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
I haven't heard of that. No.
It's. I think I don't keep up with how what these titles mean, but I think it's a rogue-like or roguelite. I don't know, one of these things. And you play a fat guy called Dave who does diving, and during the day you dive and catch fish, do missions, find mermaids and items, and chat with dolphins and stuff like that. And at night you run a sushi restaurant and have a complete sushi restaurant management simulator kind of thing. There's also a farming simulation part. There's also a fish breeding simulation parts, which, okay, they're not full games in themselves, but a couple of them are reasonably in depth, and it's got a humour to the story, and it's quite funny. And the graphics are like a pixel, but high resolution pixel, like a modern pixel art kind of game. And yeah, it's one that's got really good reviews and people chatting about it, and that's what made me get it. And yeah, so I've probably put about 20 hours into that, I think. I don't know if it's coming out on any console. I think they might want to, but it's an early access game as well, I think. So they're adding things to it. Yeah. Again, I say this about every game. Fantastic game. I don't think I've played any bad games recently.
Yeah, either there's a lot of good games or you've got low standards, but I'm sure it's like you're just not good games at the moment. For me, the only game that I've played recently, because I haven't really been able to due to the situation, but Dreams, so that came out on PlayStation Plus. It's only a PlayStation game, so it's only available on PlayStation, or from my understanding anyway. Which, for those who don't know, it's a game where you can create games on it, but you can also play other people's games on there. I've had a little go at trying to create a game on there, so I did try. I started a 2D platformer. Didn't really get too far because I feel like I'm going to need to dedicate quite a bit of time to do that, because you'll obviously there's like checkpoints and platforms and all that. The only thing I did was that I tried to link some music to it. So during the game you can have music playing while you're playing. You can have little sound effects as well when you get a coin or something. You can put a sound effect in there. And I had a little my platformer was like your typical jolly platformer. And then I put like heavy metal sort of in the background, so it didn't really go with it. So your guy was there jumping on platforms, and it had like the equivalent of like System of a Down in the background playing. But,
so a cross between Brutal Legend and Mario.
Pardon, sorry.
So a cross between Brutal Legend and Mario. Have you never heard of Brutal Legend?
Yeah, exactly. So if you were to mix, so like Brutal Legend or Mario or Sonic and Doom or something like that, where the game's jolly but the music's heavy. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I just wanted to mention, because I don't know, Duncan, I know you've been playing a lot of games, so I don't want to put another game onto you, but Stray, that's out now on Xbox. That came out yesterday. I don't know if it's on Game Pass.
Well, no, I actually own it on PC, so I completed that when it came out.
Okay, so very good game. I really enjoyed it.
Obviously, I played it, so I'm going to say very good game. It is quite short. Yeah. I will say to most people will complete it in probably less than 5 hours. It works. It's very fluid. The graphics are very pretty, and it's a very simple puzzle game. So if you want your Dark Souls experience, you're going to be massively disappointed. It is probably most suitable for people who would love to control a cat.
Yeah.
So.
So
Yeah,
I'm sure it has a market.
It's a nice story about a cat trying to find its way back to its other cat friends in a post-apocalyptic world that's underground with robots.
Yeah, bacteria and stuff. Mutant
Yeah.
bacteria, machines, robots. Oh wow! Anyway, Duncan.
Yeah. So Xbox.
Yeah. So in terms of news, I think it's pretty. Hasn't been much news.
No.
Gaming news anyway. Not what I know of anyway. So the only small sort of thing was I noticed, and I didn't actually know it was coming out, but I saw an advert for the Gran Turismo movie, which when I saw it, I was thinking, out of all the different games they could make a movie about, I wasn't expecting they'd make a movie about Gran Turismo.
Yeah,
I
saw the trailer and I just I was just cringing. It even the trailer looked awful. Yeah, it's definitely not. It's not one I'm going to hunt out to watch. No.
Yeah, the trailer made me feel like they know sort of Gran Turismo holds a bit of reputation, like people see it and they've just tried to make a film and then they put some cars in it and they're like, well, let's just call it Gran Turismo, because from what I could see on the trailer, it's about people who play the game or whatever and then they're going to be racing in real life or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a dramatic version of actually things that have happened in real life. I think they have actually done things where gamers have raced against real racers before. And so yeah, I mean, I'm not a car enthusiast at all anyway. But yeah, the reviews of it haven't been great, and most of the things that people have been saying are things that you expected from this kind of movie, where you expected it to be, a little bit cringe, a little bit of a Sony advertisement. And I can imagine if you are a boy racer, if you really like your BMWs and your Paganis and all this kind of thing, whatever cars, if you like all that, then you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy the racing probably. But for you gamers, I can't really recommend watching it. There's better. Go out and watch Baby Driver. That's got better racing in it and a better story.
Or one of the hundreds of Fast and Furious.
Yeah, go watch. Steve McQueen was in quite a few classic car movies. Yeah, go and watch Bullet or something like that. Right. So
yeah, I mean,
unlike the games, that's a definite from me.
No, so yeah, and it was a bit of a surprise because I was thinking there's a lot of games out there where they could actually make a decent film out of those games, and they see there are a lot of games that have been turned into films, and it made me sort of think, Duncan, in terms of and I'm going to put you on the spot, but can you think of what's your favourite film or films, you might have a few, that have come from a game?
A game. I would say, let's face it, there haven't been many great ones. I haven't actually got I haven't got there's the TV shows now. There's Last of Us, which was very good, but I haven't actually completed that first season of that yet.
I have. Yeah.
So I haven't watched all of it. Although if it follows the game, I've played the game, so I can imagine if it does, then yeah, I will. I know the story, so it's not too much of a spoiler.
Seen The Witcher?
The Witcher. Do you know what? I just couldn't. I love the Witcher games. I just couldn't really get into it. I don't know what it was. I thought it was all right and it was interesting, but It's a bit like, I mean, Game of Thrones, I turned off after about 5 episodes. I was really looking forward to it. I thought I'd really like Game of Thrones, and I watched about 5 episodes, and I was bored stiff. So it wasn't for me in the end. Didn't watch it. But in terms of going back to games, there's been. The original Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins. I think I might have gone to the cinema to watch that. I think it was early 90s, about or 89, something like that. So I would have been young. I would have been between 10 and 12. But that was terrible. I have a fondness for, although it's not technically a video game, it's a cartoon, the original Turtles movies. Although looking back at them now, they weren't very good, but I have a fondness for them. That's sort of a video game because there was games made about the cartoons, which they made a film.
And I don't know if you've watched Doom film. Did you watch the Doom film?
Oh, with the Rock, was it? And they literally had a first person bit, didn't they? Where he's killing all the monsters.
That was the only bit of the film that was actually okay. But it was pretty bad.
I remember that. Yeah, I was just laughing my head off. But it was good.
And I was a big fan of Doom, and then I was like really excited, and then I watched it, and it was like, wow. I hope they don't make another Doom film. I mean, I don't know if would you class Pokemon?
Resident Evil. Now, the Pokemon films I've been putting on for my son recently because they're all on over here in the UK on BBC iPlayer at the moment, and he's really enjoying them.
The games came before the films, didn't they? So we can say that came from it.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Or did the cards come first? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know, to be honest. That's
probably the
interesting question. But the Resident Evil. The films of that. The first one, although it's still incredibly cheesy like the rest of the films, the first one wasn't awful. And it had some good scenes in it.
Like the laser scene.
Oh yes, when people they were all sliced to bits. And they dodged them, and then it was like, and then it came off in a complete checkerboard. And it's like, beep. But yeah, that scene, yes, that's definitely one of the most memorable bits of it. And yeah, it was sort of like the games, but it wasn't. It was Resident Evil-ish, and it was an original story. Let's say this. Let's say that. But it had Raccoon City. It had. Well, it wasn't in the city. It was in one building, wasn't it, or one place? And they had the T-virus, and they had Umbrella Corporation, but that was about it. It wasn't a remake of the Resident Evil 2 story or Resident Evil. But I'd probably say, do you know what? Other than the Super Mario Brothers movie from this year, which I went to see with my son at the cinema, and I liked that one. Probably Resident Evil is which is really saying something because it's not a great film as such. It's never going to win any awards.
That low.
But the Super Mario the Super Mario Brothers one for this year was pretty good, although it was basically an hour and a half of fan service. It was like, look at this Nintendo character. Look at this Nintendo character. The new one,
yes. New Super Mario.
Yeah, that's
the one you'll talk.
Yeah, so the new Super Mario Brothers one was pretty good.
Just to have you watched? What about the film where it's about gaming but not a game? So like Pixels. I don't know if you've watched Pixels.
Yeah. Or, I like Adam Sandler. Ready Player One. Well, Ready Player One. Yeah, that's it. I haven't actually read it, but I bought it from my stepson who's a teenager, and he's read it, and so we've got a Ready Player 2, and he's now desperate for Ready Player 2 to be made into a film. So I don't know whether Spielberg is doing that, but I don't know whether Ready Player 1 performed well enough. Actually, do you know what? I really liked Ready Player 1, although apparently a lot of the people who read the book said the movie was very different, or there was a lot missing. But
I know Pixels a stick as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was it was like a couple of 50-year-olds who had never played games did a movie about games. And I know I'm nearly 50, but yeah, it was like non-gamers made a film about gaming. And Adam Sandler was all right, but yeah, nothing.
The other way around, when when movies get made into games, do you reckon that it's better when it's that way around? I mean,
oh, definitely. You've had some really good ones. I mean, back in the day, the Die Hard trilogy on PlayStation 1. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I did.
It was
and you had the music on there with when you could go on that mode, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was a third-person game. Was it a shooter, like a light gun type shooter, and then a driving game? I think, wasn't it the third one? But it was basically three games.
One I played was like just a standard shooter game. And then, the one bit I remember from it is when you could go into this like mode where you're practically invincible, and it had the song on there, like the nee 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 nee. Yeah, you're sort of like superhero.
I can't. Do you know what? I can't remember the music or anything. But the PlayStation 1 version, it was 3 games. So the first one was a third-person shooter, was based on Die Hard 1. Then the second one was a light gun game where you controlled a cursor on the screen and you had to shoot everything. And then the third game, I think, was based on when they're driving the taxi in Die Hard with a Vengeance. And you had to drive from one place to another really quickly. I think it's probably been 20 plus years since I played it. But yeah, really good game that was.
GoldenEye as well.
GoldenEye, of course.
One of the arguably some people say best game of all. Well, one of the best games of all time. I think hasn't aged the best, but at the time, I think in terms of impact as well, it was one of the first.
Exactly, cultural impact. It's probably had more of an impact than the movie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't remember the movie, but
I know Pierce Brosnan, but that's about it. Was that the one with Denise Richards?
Yeah, Sean Bean.
As a scientist.
Sean Bean's in it. Who?
Was it Denise Richards as a scientist? Was that one, or was that Tomorrow Never Comes? No, Tomorrow Never Dies.
There is the scientist is like this guy called, I think he's called like Boris or something. But it's got Sean Bean in it. GoldenEye.
Oh, okay. He has a scar on his face or something, doesn't he?
And he turns like a double agent. I don't know. Again, I feel like I just did a spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the 1995 GoldenEye film. But yeah, I think Sean Bean. No, yeah, Sean Bean's definitely in it. Just a bit of one of the most hilarious games I played that come from a film was the Rocky game. Have you ever played the Rocky game?
No. What device was this playable on?
So it was back on. So it was the PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox generation. So it was on all of them.
Oh, okay.
And basically, you start off, obviously, you'd be Rocky, and then it was like you followed the film, but they added in extra boxes because it'd be a pretty short game if you were only fighting Apollo Creed, Lang, Ivan Drago, and Billy Gunn or whatever. So there was other people, but they would play clips of the film during the story, but they would have it on like the GameCube graphics. So it was quite traumatizing watching Apollo Creed die in the ring after getting
with a flat face as well, probably.
Yeah, and then seeing that on GameCube graphics just made it even more traumatizing. So yeah, you saw him with his like cube head sort of shaking on the floor, and but a lot of the film's iconic moments gets remade on PlayStation 2, GameCube, or Xbox graphics. So, but it's quite a fun game. I mean, I wouldn't be saying it's like an all-time classic. The Matrix games, I didn't mind them. They had 2, didn't they? Have Enter the Matrix.
Oh yes,
Neo.
Oh, because Yeah, it was one of the first. They tried an online game, wasn't there? It was Matrix Online
I never
that you
played
could
that
play.
one,
Oh God. It was. I think it was on. I think it was on PC and like PlayStation 2. I think, but obviously you had to have the network adapter. I think it lasted 3 or 4 years, maybe. I think so. It lasted a while. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. So yeah, but yeah, well, I liked. Was it Enter the Matrix? Did you say? I think it
but
was
the
the.
Enter the Matrix was the first one, yeah. And then I liked it, but I know like a lot of people were a bit disappointed because you thought you were going to be Neo, and then you were just these two randomers on there. And then they did bring out the Path of Neo, which I liked. My only criticism of it was that it was most games get harder the more you play it, the longer it goes on because the story gets harder. The Path of Neo starts difficult, then you become the one, and then it just becomes really easy because no one can. So you just at the like there's a bit of jeopardy because you're just Neil Anderson, and then when you become the one, all of a sudden agents aren't. You don't have to be scared of agents anymore. You're just
Yes.
yeah. I mean, Leone, the next game, I just will mention another game just because it's come in my head, but The Godfather. I don't know if you ever played
Oh
The
yes,
Godfather.
yes.
And if you haven't, I would say I'd really strongly recommend that because that was really good.
It was very
A bit like
good,
Grand Theft.
but I remembered playing it and thinking I'd much rather the Mafia games because the original Mafia game when it came out was much better graphics than GTA 3. It had it. I mean, you literally had to stick to the speed limit as you were driving, otherwise the police would chase you, kind of thing. Yeah, it was just a fantastic game. Godfather was a great game.
Yeah.
Mafia 2 was a lot more action based than Mafia 1. But anyway, you can't go wrong with any of those games, to be honest. Mafia 1, Mafia 2, Mafia 3, and The Godfather. They're all really good games.
The Warriors video game. Did you play that one?
I didn't play that.
Play
That
the
was
Warriors?
PlayStation 2, was it? I think.
It was that sort of era. PlayStation
Come
2,
out to play.
Xbox. I think it came out on the Xbox as well, but it was made by the same Rockstar. So it's like quite Grand Theft Auto. Like you would have your tribe that you're in, and you could go off and like into other people's areas. But you'd like beat them up in their own area, and then it become your area. But there was like obviously a story mode to it as well. Yeah, really good game. I mean, I wouldn't again. Not saying for you to go back and buy an Xbox or PlayStation 2 to play it, but I don't know if it's available on Steam.
I'm sure I could find a way to play it.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
But anyway. Yeah, if it's PlayStation 2, I'm not the owner of any consoles, but I do own a Steam Deck, so you never know. But less said about that, the better. God blimey, you could think of a lot more than me. I mean, I
do. They were just rattling off when I started thinking of
But yeah, the Matrix. I remember playing.
Yeah,
Enter the Matrix. I remember being very repetitive. I think you that had bullet time in it, didn't it? But it basically go from one area, shoot a load of people, go to another area, shoot a load of people, dodge some bullets, blah blah blah. And it was a bit repetitive, but it expanded the story, and people were desperate for more of the Matrix in the early 2000s.
Sorry, I'm bringing it back to the other way around now. But did you watch the Mortal Kombat films? They brought a new one out recently. The original one.
The original one was in the 90s, I think, mid to late 90s. Yeah. With was it Christopher Lambert was Raiden, wasn't he? And I can't remember. There was one other celebrity star in it, but yeah, that one was not good. But the most recent one, it was decent. A bit like the Resident Evil game film, where it was watchable. Yeah, and there's a sequel coming out. So incredibly violent, which is what you want with a Mortal Kombat game. People getting sliced up by hats and heads ripped off and people frozen and then shattered, all this kind of thing, and that's what you want in Mortal Kombat. And Hopefully, with the sequel,
Street Fighter.
more.
Did you watch? Did you see the Street Fighter film with John Claude?
I did, and Kylie Minogue. Oh God. Brings back torturous memories. No. Oh, that was awful. Possibly one of the worst. There you go. If we're going to go for worst video game ones,
I mean, there was a lot of bad stuff about that film, but the fact that Jean-Claude Van Damme, was he playing? I don't know, but he was meant to be a US general, wasn't he, with the thickest Belgium accent?
Was he Guile? Was he Guile? No. Or was he Bison? I can't remember.
He wasn't the bad guy. It was.
No, it's Raul. That was the thing, because it was Raul Julia's last film. Yeah, as in Gomez Adams from the Addams Family, and it was his last film before he died.
Yeah, he was.
And it was just terrible. And it was a man who was in Oscar-winning films, last film, and such a shame for him. He was then Bison.
Yeah, so Jean-Claude Van Damme was Kyle.
Yeah. So and I mean, it goes into famous last films like John Candy, whose last film was Wagons East, which was again terrible. But yeah, the fact that it was Raul Julia's or Raul Julia, I don't know how to say his surname. Sorry to anybody that I've mispronounced it. I don't know, but so Gomez Adams from the Addams Family and Addams Family Values. His last film, and the fact that it was that awful film with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kylie Minogue. Yeah, and then they brought out the game to do with the movie Street Fighter, the movie game, which was they tried to make a Mortal Kombat kind of thing with photos, photorealistic images of the people, and it was programmed really poorly. The graphics were terrible. And the game itself was janky and awful. Oh, just everything about Street Fighter the movie should just be wiped from existence. So, if we're going to come to a conclusion, that is the worst. Street Fighter the movie and Street Fighter the movie, the game. Terrible.
And I think we've also concluded that movies that are made into games are usually better than games that have been made into movies. So.
Yeah. I mean, although there has been, pretty much every blockbuster is made into some kind of game, or used to be anyway, and generally they were terrible. But just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there has been, but there has been some really good.
Yeah. Movies. Yeah. I mean, Terminator's had some awful games and some brilliant games.
Yeah. Rambo. I remember the Rambo games on the Mega Drive as well. One where we had to shoot down a helicopter.
Yeah, the arcade versions of Rambo are not bad as well.
So, Lion King, remember that? That was like the hardest game. Really,
yeah, Lion King and Aladdin. Aladdin was pretty difficult as well.
Yeah, Aladdin, that was good as well, though.
I mean, a lot of the Disney platformers are pretty tough going, but again, they were from the era where they had to be tough because otherwise people would complain that
just do the game.
They spent £40 on the game and didn't get any play out of it. So,
well, anyway, Duncan, time is.
Yep. Yeah, we're nearly 40 minutes.
I don't know if we want to wrap up. I don't know if there's any games that you want to mention that came out around today's date, which is the 11th of August.
If anybody's on Xbox, on Game Pass, Broforce just dropped this week, which is a fantastic game. Although, if you've got a PC as well, get it on PC because it has custom level browser and you can create your own levels. And it doesn't have that on Xbox. And from what I've tried, playing multiplayer is pretty much impossible. I tried to join about 50 games yesterday and couldn't do it. So, great game. Absolutely love it. It's hilarious, all the bros that you get to control. But get it on PC. I think it's available for pennies. If you look around on CD keys or somewhere like that. Broforce is pretty cheap, I think, and the fact that you can have custom levels on PC is the game changer. But if you've just got Game Pass, then play it on Game Pass. Fantastic game.
On this day, anything came out like years and years ago, Duncan?
Well, the one that makes me feel old is Dead Rising. 17 years ago this week.
Wow. And I that makes me feel old now because I wasn't that young when that came out, because I remember it. I don't know. So I probably finished school by that point. So not like, I'm not saying that makes you old, but if you can remember it, I was definitely 16, 17. So
to just give away, because I've never actually said how old I am. I've just said I've said today I'm on my way to 50. When that came out, I would have been 28 years old. There you go. I would have been 28 in 2006, August. So 17 years ago, geez. Breath of Fire came out when I was 16, and that was 1994. Wow. But fantastic RPG if you want to go back and play that, anybody. Yeah, highly recommend it. System Shock 2, 24 years ago. That's a genre-defining game. There's a lot of games that owe their. It came up with basically that it was the first person RPG pioneer, and remake is just coming out. So if you want to experience that, then hold on, and the remake will probably age better, seeing as it's brand new. Although I don't think it's out for a while.
The only thing I'll say about Dead Rising is that it was like Dawn of the Dead vibes, wasn't it? You're in a mouse. Yeah,
it was a shopping mall, and you had the only problem with it was you had a certain time limit to complete the game, and so if you didn't get to a certain point within a certain time, you might as well just restart. And sometimes I don't think I ever completed that one because I just kept running out of time. I wanted to explore and I wanted to have fun and I wanted to kill things and whatnot.
Yeah, one of those games, isn't it, where like Grand Theft Auto, where you don't necessarily go on it to play the story. Like you sometimes just go on it because you want to hit a zombie with a cricket bat or golf club or whatever. So, anyway, Duncan, unless there's anything else you want to mention before we go, we'll wrap it up now.
Apologise for the delay, and we'll get this out ASAP. And if anybody's got any questions or suggestions or comments,
if anyone wants to share what films they've enjoyed that have come from games or games that have come from films, then
do you agree that Street Fighter is the worst? Street Fighter is the worst, everybody.
You have a preference between Mafia and Godfather. Let's see what the masses think about that. And if you played the Warriors, then share your thoughts on that. But whatever you want to do. Sonic. We didn't even mention Sonic. That came out, didn't it, the other year? So,
of course. Yeah, an actual half decent.
So, I guess there's probably loads of films and games that we haven't mentioned that people can say, how did you forget?
Exactly, yes. How did I forget Sonic? Because Sonic 1 and 2 have now come out. Yeah, there's probably going to be a Sonic 3 as well.
And Terry as well.
Which already has Knuckles in Sonic and Sonic 2. So, yeah. I think that's all. Duncan, we'll save something for episode 6. Right.
And we'll see you. See you sooner rather than later, Duncan.
Indeed. Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.